Rival gangs creating anarchy.
Major gang bust in Los Angeles today.
Epidemic of violence.
Gang members roam the streets.
These are animals. Animals.
Savage, vicious, criminal gangs. Bloodthirsty killers.
Poncho, big, huge guy, tattooed. He starts to tell his story. I think I was like 7. I was playing with matches. And this pissed my mom off. So she grabbed me by the hand and she walks me into the kitchen. And we had one of those stove tops with the coils. And she turned it on and she waited for it to be red hot. All I remember is I woke up that night, I was asleep on the floor in the bathroom with my hand in the toilet water trying to get some relief because I was all tore up and pussy and burned. Who knows what he used to say? You know, fast cars and women and money. This is what they'll say on, you know, on Maury Povich or something, but they're not gonna say the truth, which is, my mom used to put cigarettes out on me and hold my head in the toilet and flush till I nearly drowned. That's why I joined a gang. No kid is seeking anything when he joins a gang. Every kid is fleeing from something when they join a gang.
My mom used to abuse me very badly. She was very verbally abusive. She was physically abusive. When she would ask me to do something, I would automatically do it wrong because I was afraid. So then I would get beat. My father was in prison all my life. He was a drug addict. I hated my dad because he loved heroin more than me.
It was like night and day in our house. When it was just us and our mom, it was just great. We all had fun, we laughed. And when my father would come, all the happiness in the house would just leave.
I watched my dad beat my mom on a daily basis. So I grew up very violently. I grew up with this idea that I always had to fight everybody.
Well, my father beat me with a metal table leg till it bent. He wasn't there when I needed him. He never showed up to anything.
I've seen a lot of things happen to my mother. Getting tied up in closets, thrown out of windows, get beat. I was about 9 years old, 8 years old, when I witnessed all that. And me being a victim of molestation added more to it.
Domestic violence was a regular thing in my house. Seeing my mom getting beat up when I was a kid, seeing my family members getting dragged out of the house and put in jail, all that anger starts building up and you don't know how to release that anger.
I was hurting. You're gonna hurt me? Oh, I'm gonna fucking hurt you.
So we just took it out on whatever we could take it out on. It made us feel better. That's all you got is hurting inside. So when you go out there in the streets, that's all you want to do, hurt somebody.
I feel like shit, I'm gonna make everybody else feel like shit.
If I'm hurting, you're gonna hurt too.
Everybody else is gonna pay for my pain.
Home invasion robbery.
Selling drugs and robbing dope dealers and dice games.
You know, I've been shot, I've been stabbed.
I would break into the house and I would steal their dope.
Robberies, assaults. My first strong arm robbery was with my mom. She was my crime partner.
If you ever been locked up in a closet, seeing the people that were a little older than me getting older and dying in there, a guy would go to medical and he wouldn't come back. And they would just fill in the cell with somebody else and it's like they were never there. Now they want to be one of those guys that was never there.
What happens when you lock a dog in a cage and you let him out 6 months later? He's wild, uncontrollable.
You never get prepared for a future because they think you don't have a future.
I had no clue as to how to do this stuff, you know, on the internet. I don't have no work history really, because the reality of it is that I'm gonna keep aging and I don't have nothing to back me up. What have I done with my life? And I got scared.
I couldn't go get a job anywhere because they're not going to hire felons.
Jack in the Box, Burger King, all these places, they won't hire me.
I didn't have no more chances.
One day, my roommate says, "Hey, let's go to Homeboy Industries." And I was like, "Where's that? What's that?" I opened the door. There was one guy standing by the water fountain, and I was standing by the front desk. Somehow, he just locked eyes with me. And he just goes, "How can I help you?" And everything that I was carrying, all my fears, everything just fell off. And I bursted into tears.
When I got to Homeboy, the same guy that jumped me into my gang, I seen him with a tighter in a suit, sitting in the office, running the office, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? He told me, like, this is a whole different way of life. Are you willing to give it a try?
I didn't think Father Greg would help me. Like, how's this man I never knew? How's he gonna help me? And he's just come in, we'll figure it out.
I fell in love with it. It's just the joy that they get when they come here, when they're being helped, when they're offered a cup of coffee, a meal, and somebody's actually trying to help you do something, you know. Homeboys, it feel like home.
We're 30 years in existence here at Homeboy Industries. We had the largest concentration of gang activity anywhere in the world. There are 120,000 gang members in LA County, 1,100 gangs. And now we're the largest gang intervention rehab reentry program on the planet. So 15,000 folks a year walk through our doors. We always represented an exit ramp off this violent freeway. So it's an illusion that, you know, by locking up more people, that it brings you safety. And whatever benefit there is in that dwarfs, in comparison, it has this foreverness about a cycle of damage to kids and to relationships and to marriages and to communities.
I've been to every single prison in California. I've been from Pelican Bay State Prison, Corcoran's. I've been to all the higher levels, and then I worked my way down to the lower levels. And it's nothing there that helps you rehabilitate.
What if we were to invest in people rather than just try to futilely, mindlessly incarcerate our way out of this problem? It's an invitation to infuse hope to kids for whom hope is foreign and help heal the damage.
Tattoo removal.
Tattoo removal.
Tattoo removal is a change of life.
The first tattoo that I removed was my gang tattoo. And it had been there for so long, but I was ready to do it. And after I done it, it felt good. At first it was kind of like, oh my God, I'm taking this off. But then I was like, yeah, because it's no longer who I am.
I went through all these classes.
Substance abuse classes, the anger management. There was a leadership class.
Legal services, GED,
Job resource.
Pathways to college.
domestic violence, NA, AA.
Computer lab.
I started taking parenting classes. First I started taking them because they have free food. And all those tutors, they don't give up on you. They want to drill you every morning before you had your coffee. It was real hard.
It's helped me become the father that I always wanted.
The secret sauce here is the place, is the community, is the environment, is the extravagant tenderness that people encounter.
I never thought about a 401k. And he showed me the whole breakdown of a 401k and how you can start saving and everything for the future. But now that you're saying that, yeah, I would like something like that. No wonder these white people keep their shit straight, huh? Because they got a 401k. Now I'm a homeowner. You know, it's 3 years out after doing 18 years in prison.
You could go hiking? I thought that was for white people.
They get trained in the job while they're. So for instance, you'll look down, you see people in the bakery, or you'll go to a Homeboy recycling or catering or a cafe. And so they'll get training from those folks who are working in those fields.
I got certified to drive a forklift.
My goal is to be an electrician. And they offer a service for that, a class that helps you with the math part of the test.
I remember this kid, Gumby, and he called me, he said, come pick me up, I'm at the emergency room. Well, it turns out he had, in effect, an anxiety attack. And so the doctor sent him home with whatever he sent him with, maybe meds or something. So, for the umpteenth time with people like this guy, I said, you know, it helps sometimes, you know, if you talk to somebody. And then he says, oh, you mean like analyze this?
This is what you're like. Hey, Doc, you gotta help me. I'm in pain here. Please help me. All right, Paul, I'll help you. Fuck you. Nobody helps Paul Vitti.
It was actually a very helpful film for our population because they could connect a dot like they never did before.
Just hit the pillow. See how you feel.
We made this discovery that an employed gang member, returning citizen, may or may not reoffend, and an educated one may or may not reoffend. But then we arrived at this unshakable certainty that a healed gang member won't ever go back to prison, period.
My therapist, she reminded me one day, she goes, Emily, do you remember when you came, the first day you came in? And I was like, no, like, what happened, you know? And she's all, you came in and I started writing and you said, what the fuck are you writing? I didn't know what she was writing, who it was gonna get shared with, who was gonna talk about me. I've been able to get off one of the medications. And my new therapist was like, you're a miracle that you're alive. And now I love therapy.
In the beginning, it was just, hey, Fahima, and we would just talk, what's going on? We took a lot of walks and sat down and had coffee and ate at gyms across the street and at El Sol. There was nothing threatening about it. There was nothing formal even about it. Eventually we sat in rooms and that became okay, but it became okay because we were in the same community.
Generational trauma can actually alter brain chemistry. The good news is that talk therapy can restore this in a way that people are resilient and able to have lives and never return to prison again.
I, begged for help. Like, help me. Why do I keep getting high? Why do I keep going back to prison? Why do I keep going back to the same thing that I know that is bad for me? I know that where I'm gonna end up, in either dead or prison for the rest of my life. So today I'm learning how to deal with my feelings today. I didn't want to feel my feelings, you know what I mean? All the trauma and all the stuff that happened to me when I was younger, I kind of put a brick wall around me, you know what I mean? Because as a man, we have that ego and that pride that stop us from moving forward.
So we have 4 paid therapists, and we have like 47 volunteer therapists, including 2 psychiatrists. It's the most volunteer therapists we've ever had. And still we have a waiting list. So on the one hand, it's a good problem to have, a kind of a aerial view that the homies are amenable to this. On the other hand, we'd love to be able to accommodate everybody.
In my lifestyle, you don't talk to people about your feelings. When I went to prison, the homies tell you, you leave your feelings in R&R. All of the emotional stuff, you leave that in R&R. And I didn't realize I was stuffing it down. How did I go from just being laughing and feeling good and I'm crying because somebody said something in a song and it made me think of my brother. And when I thought of my brother, I couldn't do nothing but start crying, To be able to say things that you might not necessarily be able to say to anybody else in the world.
And if you are a gang member and you say there's a lure and attraction, that's just a sign that you haven't dealt with your stuff. One guy said with great sadness, he said, no, my gang, my neighborhood, my barrio, has made me who I am. I said, no, mijito, It's kept you from who you are. Yeah, everybody's a whole lot more than the worst thing they ever did.
We've all got a mask of some kind, and I just think that perhaps the mask of the gang member is a little darker and a little scary, and of course it doesn't help if you have "fuck you" written on your forehead.
And I was like, fuck my father. I'm angry, I don't like him. You know, and once I sat and I started crying, like I'm hurt, I'm sad. My father wasn't around. I'm the kid that's supposed to look like him the most. He had me, and I couldn't tell you anything about my father. I couldn't tell you his age, where he come from at that time.
You have to excavate your own wound. You have to make friends with your own brokenness. And that's tough.
And then he has like these attacks, you know, like he can't breathe. It's like gets dizzy, chest pains, you know. It's like he thinks he's gonna die or something.
Panic attacks.
Who said panic?
Not panic. Dizzy, chest breathing, constricting attacks.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, I was a hardcore gang member. I survived Pelican Bay State Prison. How the hell am I going to get an anxiety attack right here? You know, driving by myself. And so I came back and I told my therapist what happened. And for us, a lot of times the past is so painful that you just prefer to act like if it never happened. Because a lot of us, our rules in the streets is code of silence, you know? So even though you were traumatized by it, you were never allowed to speak about it. But then when you start trying to find out where it comes from, then you're in a whole different ball game, you know? But those strings ain't gonna let you just cut them. What are you doing the work on yourself? So it's about being able to do the work. And I'm still going. It's a work in progress, you know? Like, we still have to cut a lot of strings.
And the only way to take the pain away is to go through it. So here we say if you don't transform your pain, you're just going to keep inflicting it. You're going to keep transmitting it.
If therapy's totally comfortable, like if it's just like a soft, fuzzy blanket all the time, I think maybe people don't change.
Exactly.
I didn't understand what a therapist did, you know. She would talk to you, and then, you know, and I went in there with this idea like, my parents are gone, my life is what it is, what does that have to do with me today, you know? Plus, I was brought up like, you don't tell nobody nothing. Like, you don't tell people what, you know, nothing. Like, I just started connecting dots to certain things, and I just started like filling in that puzzle. Like, oh, this makes sense, you know? So then a little more, then I started opening up more, and then, oh, now I know what happened in my past, why it has to do with me today.
The pain that they carry sometimes is inaccessible to them until it isn't.
I've learned that not everybody's out to hurt me, and I don't always have to hurt other people.
And then slowly, there's a melting of the mask and a thawing of the toughness, and someone can become soft enough to care about the people around them. And that's how the world becomes a little bit safer for all of us.
I came here and I was able to become part of something bigger, you know, a community, kinship, love.
I can finally breathe and enjoy what I believe life was meant to be like for me.
That brings them to a place where they go, huh, happiness and joy just might be possible for me.
I'm a father to my children. I tuck my kids into bed. I help them with their homework today.
We need to help people start to heal so that they can start to see who they really are.
But now that I know, man, I'm grabbing, I'm running, and I'm living today.
What's better than an ex-lifer sitting at the table with the mayor to be able to change a law that's going to help somebody else get out of prison? Because by you taking me out of the street, you save my life and my kids' lives. I always say this is not a place of second chances, it's a place of first chances.
But this is a beacon. It's dark out there in the streets. This is a beacon of light right here.
And it just feels good to be able to be there when they come through the doors and they're looking for treatment, and I can say, okay, how can I help you?
You know, how do you alter, reverse mass incarceration? Address the thing they were fleeing. Then you've done something as a society.
What we need is sentencing justice to humanize what we're doing for the people that are suffering.
Locking up more and more people for longer and longer is not making us safer.
Sentencing justice puts a stop to the revolving door of prison and actually helps a person be reformed.
We have kids joining gangs at 8, 10, 12 years old. What are we doing for them? Because if we don't do something for them, if we don't try something new besides locking them up, then they either die in the streets or they die in prison, and all of us are in greater danger.
In the end, none of that stuff changes unless people care about the folks who are being incarcerated. But the minute you know these folks, it's a game changer.
I don't know that I've ever met a group of people per se with greater heart than this group and such capacity to give.
They're anchored in hope, and they have a reason to get up in the morning and a reason not to commit a violent act.
These are people that are sadists in many cases. We don't want them. We don't want them.
Sometimes I sit and I watch him on TV and I'm just like, God, that guy must have a lot of hurt and pain inside of him. Something has to be going on with that guy. You need a therapist?
I called them animals the other day, and I was met with rebuke. They said, they're people. They're not people. These are animals.
He must have some trauma, because it's so important that he has everyone look at him. So he must not be all right inside. He needs some therapy. You know, money, like I tell all my clients, you can have a good job, you can have all the money, Trump. But with all that, if you ain't okay in here, you're gonna cause damage.